Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
Hey, this is Jen. You're listening to the Bible for Busy People. And up until recent years, I did not have what most adults have, which is a credit card. My parents warned me off of getting one when I was young, and I think that was mostly to avoid the temptation on my college campus of all those tables that were set up offering free t-shirts and free movie tickets for signing up for a credit card. And that made sense to me. I stuck with it through most of my adult life. Why spend what you don't have? Except then I found out that you actually have to have credit to make big purchases. Even when you pay your bills on time, even when you pay off debt, you still have to have credit to receive credit. Wild, right? Nobody taught me this in high school. I really firmly believe that in high school we should teach financial education classes and stuff that you will actually use when you're an adult. So this week we are talking about the Greek word charis, often translated as grace, sometimes as favor, like we talked about yesterday, and sometimes it's translated oddly as credit, which is odd as far as our understanding of credit goes. Credit is, as we understand it today, mainly something that you receive that you have to pay back, often with interest. It's something that honestly hangs above your head. It also can mean, according to Merriam-Webster, influence or power derived from enjoying the confidence of another or others, or something that gains or adds to reputation or esteem, honor. Both are not seemingly connected to grace, but let's dive into this topic a little bit more. In Luke chapter 6, verse 27, it says, "But to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. And if you lend to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners, expecting to be repaid in full. But love your enemies, do good to them, and lend to them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, because He is kind to the ungrateful and wicked. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." In verse 32, a closer translation would be, according to Benson commentary, "What great thanks are due to you on that account. For there are some sentiments of gratitude common even to the worst of men, which incline the most scandalous sinners to love those that love them, and to profess an affectionate regard for those by whom they have been treated with respect and kindness." It makes sense, right? To only love people who love you back, or to only serve people who serve you back, is not the way of grace. Remember that grace is unexpected, unearned, extravagant, and even outrageous. To treat people with kindness, only when they treat you with kindness, is the way of the world, viewing grace as a transaction, much like we look at credit. But the way we live out grace is a response to God's grace, not whether or not someone has been gracious with us. Charis is also a description for what is due to grace, or our response to grace. Again, this concept of charis and chara, of grace and joy, is that these are ongoing back and forth concepts, an ebbing and flowing, not numbers in columns on a page, like a credit card report. It is relational, not transactional. We receive grace, we express joy. We give grace, we receive joy. When we live this way, or maybe I'm just speaking for my own struggles here, we almost feel like we have earned or deserve grace from God. Romans 4 talks about this concept too. However, credit is not translated from charis here. In Romans 4, verse 1, it says, "What then shall we say that Abraham, our forefather according to the flesh, discovered in this matter? If, in fact, Abraham was justified by works, he had something to boast about, but not before God. What does Scripture say? Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Now to the one who works, wages are not credited as a gift, but as an obligation. However, to the one who does not work but trusts God who justifies the ungodly, their faith is credited as righteousness." David says the same thing when he speaks of the blessedness of the one to whom God credits righteousness apart from works. "Blessed are those whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sins are covered. Blessed is the one whose sin the Lord will never count against them." Skipping down to verse 13, it says, "It was not through the law that Abraham and his offspring received the promise that he would be heir of the world, but through the righteousness that comes by faith. For if those who depend on the law are heirs, faith means nothing, and the promise is worthless, because the law brings wrath. And where there is no law, there is no transgression. Therefore, the promise comes by faith, so that it may be by grace and may be guaranteed to all Abraham's offspring, not only to those who are of the law, but also to those who have the faith of Abraham. He is the father of us all. As it is written, 'I have made you a father of many nations.' He is our father in the sight of God, in whom he believed, the God who gives life to the dead and calls into being things that were not." Here we look at the concept of credit as what is owed and obligated versus what is esteemed and bestowed upon. Abraham didn't earn righteousness by good works. He believed, and God said that was righteous. They were made the same, and only God can do that. This went to the grander concept that though we can do our best to live according to the law doesn't credit us with righteousness because we could never be good enough to have that covered. The promise comes from faith, which is by grace. God grants us the opportunity to see and believe, which is grace, and if we choose it, it's made to be righteousness for us. Also, grace. This passage ends with one of my favorite verses, "The God who gives life to the dead and calls into being things that were not." However you may fall short of the glory of God, grace lifts us back up so we can be with him. Again, this is relational, not transactional. These are some big ideas and concepts. What I want to leave you with today is how can you live in the flow of grace, making it relational instead of transactional, both with God and with other people. Thanks for talking with me today. Let's chat again tomorrow about grace.
Thank you for listening to The Bible for Busy People. If you need prayer or want to go deeper in your faith, visit our show notes. Will you take a moment to share with a friend and leave a review? It helps the Bible get into even more people's minds and hearts. Find more podcasts that will recharge you at purposely.com.